So welcome back to the channel, everyone. Triple M here. Today we're testing the AURZEN Boom 3 Smart Projector. Now this is an all-in-one projector, guys. This is going to have Bluetooth, 3D sound, 36-watt speakers, AI autofocus and keystone, and this does come with the official Netflix and Amazon Prime applications. Now in addition, this is going to have 500 ANSI lumens. So yes, this is a great projector, but in this video I also wanted to put it up against one of its toughest competitors. This is the WiMiUS K9, which also has a ton of features: 700 ANSI lumen, 1080p, Dolby Audio, autofocus, 6D, keystone correction. This should be a good showdown. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, let's go ahead and start off with the contents of the box. Contact information, as well as the warranty card, quick start guide, frequently asked questions. We also have a user's manual. This is going to go more in depth with the setup. We're going to have a power cable, HDMI, and we do have a remote control. Now, nice looking remote in my opinion. This reminds me of kind of like the Fire TV stick remote. Top, we're going to have the power, we have the mute, we also have focus, plus and minus, input, navigation is going to be in the middle, and of course we have our back, home. Look like we have our menu settings, volume up and down. We have dedicated Netflix, YouTube, as well as Prime videos, and this is going to take 2 AAA batteries, and this is not going to be included. And wow, this actually looks a lot more premium than I thought. I have a cover right there for the lens. Also have this guy up top. Oof. So in the front, we're going to have our focal adjustment. So this is going to measure the distance from the screen, so it can do the automatic keystone as well as focus. We also have the IR in the front. So with this, you do have the remote control where you can operate from either the front or the rear of the unit. Nice grill at the bottom, mesh all the way around. Looks, feels really premium, guys. So look like that's going to be the volume adjustment. And very cool that underneath we do have a mount or quarter 20 where you can go ahead and mount it to a tripod or something. And we do have a leg right here. This is to elevate, so you can see that screws out, screws in, so that way you can elevate the projector. You can see that goes down pretty far. Let me go ahead and screw that back in. And on the back, we're going to have a couple buttons. So we're going to have a power, and I have an IR right there, HDMI 2, HDMI 1, USB 2, USB 1. We have a headphone jack, and we do have the power plug. Now, one of the cool things about this is that you can actually remove the grill to expose the speaker. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Wow. Pretty amazing. So you can see you have 2 main drivers right there, and we do have some smaller speakers in the bottom, and we do have a woofer right here in the middle. Pretty amazing. Excited to go ahead and try this out. Let's go ahead and get it put back together. Here's a quick tech comparison between the two. So both of them are going to have a smart OS, which means it's going to be smart, intuitive, where you can download applications, different games, and so on and so forth. They're going to actually pull from the same app store. Both are going to have the official Netflix and Prime Video applications. As far as the audio, on the AURZEN, we're going to have a 36-watt speaker with 3D surround sound. On the WiMiUS, we're going to have Dolby Audio with 20-watt 3D hi-fi speakers. Now the lumens on the AURZEN is 500 ANSI, and the lumen on the WiMiUS is 700 ANSI. So both are going to have autofocus and keystone correction. WiMiUS claims that is 6D correction, so we'll check that out. Both are going to be 1080p projectors, guys. They do support 4K inputs, but the output is going to be 1080p. On the AURZEN, we're going to have Bluetooth 5.2 with dual band Wi-Fi at 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. On the WiMiUS K9, it's going to have Bluetooth 5.2 and it's going to have Wi-Fi 6. Last but not least, both are going to be optical sealed. That means that dust and debris cannot get behind your lens. Just a side-by-side comparison. As far as the height, it's going to be the same. The AURZEN is going to be a little bit taller or deeper, so it is a slightly bigger projector. If I put it on the bottom, you can see both have the rubber foot end, both have the 1/4-20 for mounting on a projector, both have the leg where you can adjust the angle, so equally right there in my opinion. In the front, lens is going to be in similar spots, a little bit higher on the WiMiUS, a little bit lower on the AURZEN, but both have the automatic sensor where it does do the automatic keystone depending how your screen is mounted. The rear projector differences I'm seeing here is that the Luminous has RJ45, so you can plug that directly into an Ethernet port. That's going to give you better connectivity, especially if you have weak Wi-Fi, but everything else is going to be similar. I have 2 HDMI ports, 2 USB ports on each. We also have the IR receiver on the rear and headphone jacks on both. Just look at that. That's one of the selling features in my opinion for this projector. Exposed speakers, so you can remove the mesh dust to get a more direct sound. 2 main drivers up top, 2 tweeters, and we do have a subwoofer in the middle, so expecting better sound from this one. Remotes again are going to be a little bit different. AURZEN's going to copy the Fire TV stick and how their remote is laid out, while Luminous is going to be a traditional remote. It is going to have the keystone adjustment as well as focus buttons on the remote, as well as dedicated Netflix Prime Video button. So towards the end of the video, I'll let you know which one of these remotes I actually like using better. Let's go ahead, get them powered up, and take a look at the user interface. Now, as far as the user interface, really similar. On the left, we're going to have the AURZEN, and on the right, we're going to have the WiMiUS. Now, the AURZEN, what I noticed is that up top, they're going to have the recommendations for your Netflix, popular, what's trending, and in the rows below that is going to have your applications, as well as your settings, and your browser, and some other apps. On the WiMiUS, it's a little bit different. Up top, we're going to have our applications, as you can see there, and then below that, we're going to have our recommendations. Now, both are going to have the exact same app store, and within the app store you're going to have a lot of options. You're going to have your streaming apps, you're going to have some games, and just different options where you can download on this projector. Now within the settings, you're going to have a lot of options for customizing not only your picture but also your audio. So again, both does this a little bit different. I prefer the way the AURZEN presents its settings. When you go through it, it seems like it's a lot easier to follow, but within the settings, guys, you can adjust your brightness, you can do a manual keystone adjustment, or you can do an automatic keystone adjustment. Now, one cool thing about both of these projectors, guys, is that the automatic keystone and focus is really awesome. Now, what this means is that if you were to move the projector closer or farther away from the screen, you'll notice that it automatically retracts the lens, focuses, and does its best to really make sure your picture is focused. Now, having said that, I do find myself having to go in from time to time and adjust on both of them, so it's not perfect, but I do think it is helpful. Now, as far as the sound quality, I think this is where AURZEN really shines. You can hear the difference in not just the bass, but the sound accuracy just sounds more realistic. And I think the built-in speakers, as we can see, just does a really good job capturing the sound. That way, if you don't have a sound bar, you don't have a speaker system, this will do just fine. Now, speaking of sound, I'm going to give you a quick sample of both. Remember, this is not going to translate well over the video, but take a listen and let me know what you guys think.
The first thing in the box is going to be the charger. This is going to output 54 volts at 2 amps, and it is IP20 waterproof. Next, we're going to have a bag of goodies. We're going to have a quick start guide, get you up and running. That's going to have a user manual that's going to get you more in depth. But one thing I would say is that it is handling it well. I can definitely tell that the springs are doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Alright, so kind of caught myself there watching the old video. One thing I would say is that the sound quality on this is superb compared to the WiMiUS. This is extraordinary. You can hear more details in the voice. You can definitely hear more bass. And to me, the picture quality looks a little bit better. But to really compare the two, I have to put them side by side. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so the other thing I want to do is a quick brightness check. Both of these are in standard mode, so they're not in dynamic. What I want to do is just kill the lights on and off. Just wanted to see which one does better in the light versus the darkness. All right, so that's where we at with the lights turned off. This is ideal condition. As you can see, both of them look amazing. Let's go ahead and turn it back on. right, so let me know in the comment section which one you think look better. All right, guys, so got both projectors side by side. Got a WiMiUS over here, and I got the AURZEN over here. So first thing I want to do, guys, is do a quick sound check. I just wanted to see which one's a little bit louder. First thing I'm going to do is just put this to the side, let it sit for a little bit, and see what I get. All right, say about a 55. 48, 49, 45, 46 on top, and the 49.50 on top of the AURZEN. So just by the comparison of the two, I would say the AURZEN is a little bit louder. Let's go ahead and do some more comparisons. All right, so both of these are set to standard mode, projection mode. They're both streaming at 1080p at 60 frames per second. Let's go ahead and play them. All right, so in the comments, let me know what you guys think of the picture quality. Remember, we have the WiMiUS to the left. We have the AURZEN to the right. This is my observation looking at it both on camera and in the projector screen. I do feel like the WiMiUS has greater blacks, deeper blacks, where the WiMiUS looks a little bit more washed. But overall, I think both looks great. Let me go ahead and pause it. We're going to try a different mode. So now we're going to go ahead and we'll try a dynamic mode. All right, again, I do prefer the WiMiUS picture over the AURZEN. I do feel like the AURZEN, the colors are a little bit off, like I said, a little bit more washed. But what I'm going to do now is just see if I can tune it so they both have similar color. Let's go ahead and do that. So got a little bit closer, I believe. Again, both are real similar in my opinion. Feel like I do have to do more fine tuning on the AURZEN versus the WiMiUS, and just the default, I feel like the WiMiUS is a little bit more accurate. All right, so while we're here, let's go over the pros and cons, both projectors, and I'll do a side-by-side comparison of where I think they stack up against one another. As far as the overall build quality, look, feel of the projector, I do give the heads up to the AURZEN. I just feel like the material is a lot better, feels less cheap, less plasticky. I do feel like the WiMiUS feels a little bit cheaper, just hard plastic everywhere, where there's some finish with the AURZEN. AURZEN will win as far as the build quality. When it comes to the two remotes, this is where I'm torn. I do like the AURZEN because it does remind me of the Fire TV stick. The feel of it, all the buttons feel familiar, but just the overall quality of the remote, guys, I do feel like the WiMiUS has a better build quality. Just pressing the buttons, it feels more sturdy, feels more solid. The AURZEN, I feel like there's some shake with the buttons, so maybe some QC issues there, but I do give the slight nod on the remote to the WiMiUS. As far as the user interface, both of them are pretty good, but I do prefer the AURZEN over the WiMiUS. I just feel like it's more snappy, well put together. It's a little bit more sleek, seems more thought out. Where the menus are, where the buttons are, how they look, they just feels a lot better in my opinion. As far as the audio performance, this is hands down going to go to the AURZEN. The AURZEN makes it feel like you're in actual studio, guys. Really loud, you can hear the subwoofer, you can hear the voice a little bit better, and overall just this is probably the clearest win in my opinion. AURZEN sound quality is going to be a lot better. Now over to the picture quality. Again, when it comes to the picture quality, just the out of the box presets. So when you go to standard, when you go to vivid, when you go to eco, whatever the case is, I prefer the WiMiUS. I just feel like the colors are deeper, richer, more accurate. While the AURZEN does look a little bit brighter, sometimes the colors can be more washed out, as you can see there. But after some fine tuning, I can see this just going neck and neck. Now the AURZEN is a little bit louder, not much in between them, but just see on the decibel meter, you can see that overall, wherever I put it on the top or to the side, the AURZEN is a little bit louder than the WiMiUS, so keep that in mind as well. But one more thing I got to mention is the outputs are pretty much identical, except the WiMiUS does have an Ethernet port built in. If I get a projector like this, I am going to be using it on Wi-Fi 99.99% of the time. I don't see me running the Ethernet cable to this, but I do think this can come in handy for someone who doesn't have a good Wi-Fi connection. Overall, both great projectors. If you guys want me to do a follow-up video on this, drop it in the comments. If you have any additional questions, let me know. So big shout out to AURZEN for sending this out for me to review. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Of course, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.